why was AJ Dybantsa going #1? You know why? Because AJ Dybantsa works his ass off. Why? Because he's trustworthy. Why? Because he's available.
You got the talent, the size, the skill to match anybody in that league, anybody in college.
Extremely talented, and like I said, he's going to be a special talent to come in the NBA.
Washington just did something nobody in the league thought was humanly possible, because they went from the most embarrassing franchise in basketball to threatening to build a dynasty in literally 18 months, all because of one rookie. Their past records had everyone writing them off for good, until Tuesday night's draft completely altered the course of NBA history. AJ Dybantsa is officially joining Anthony Davis and Trae Young, who just signed $212 million to stay. This isn't a rebuild anymore. It's a hostile takeover. And if you think you've heard it all, wait till you hear the exact 4-part master plan Washington's unleashing to take over the league. The last couple of days completely broke the NBA, and I'm still trying to process the fact that the Washington Wizards just hijacked the entire league. On Monday, we watched Giannis Antetokounmpo force a trade to the Miami Heat, which everyone thought was the biggest story of the year. Then, literally 24 hours later on Tuesday night, the Wizards drafted AJ Dybantsa with the #1 overall pick.
With the first pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Anise Dybantsa Jr. from Brigham Young University.
You won't believe the panic behind the scenes right now, because the Wizards did not just draft a standard rookie. They completely altered the Eastern hierarchy in a single evening, while everyone else was asleep. Honestly, you can't even appreciate how crazy this draft pick is until you realize how deep a hole this team was stuck in. For years, Washington was the running joke of the NBA because they were trapped in that miserable 9th seed loop, where they were too bad to make the playoffs but not bad enough to actually tank for a real prize. The numbers make me laugh out loud because they actually put up 3 straight seasons of 64+ losses. They had 15 wins and 67 losses in the first year, 18 and 64 in the second, and then wrapped it all up with a 17 and 65 record, which makes it 50 wins total across 3 entire years. And in case you don't understand how insane that is, the Cavs lost fewer games in just this past season alone than the Wizards managed to win in 36 months. But here's where it gets even more embarrassing. The Wizards had been tanking so bad that in February, the NBA commissioner Adam Silver had to publicly call him out.
Tanking is not a new issue for this league. I think what maybe surprised us all a little bit is how quickly it became acceptable behavior in this league.
And the league got so sick of him throwing games that they voted to change the lottery rules just to stop him. However, here's where things took the craziest turn. Dybantsa didn't walk into a talentless team, because a couple of days ago, Trae Young also signed a massive 4-year, $212 million extension to play in DC. The #1 pick is instantly stepping onto the floor with an elite all-star playmaker and completely bypassing the typical rookie struggle. The rest of the league is genuinely not ready for what AJ is about to do to these defenders. And speaking of what AJ is about to do to these defenders, you need to realize this kid's not just some normal high-flying rookie. We're talking about a kid who's 217 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan, an 8'10" standing reach, and a casual 42-inch vertical. He's exactly like prime Tracy McGrady if T-Mac went to the gym and actually lifted weights. The hype's getting so crazy online that his own college coach, Kevin Young, who used to coach KD in Phoenix, openly admitted AJ has a genuine chance to be a marquee superstar in this league. Even former player Rashad McCants went on TV and straight up called him Tracy McGrady on HGH.
AJ is, I think he's T-Mac on HGH. I think that he's one of these kids that's going to, from where he is now, he's going to extend his abilities.
There are even some that say he modeled his style after KD, and AJ himself doesn't even hide it.
My favorite player is Kevin Durant, but the comp I got recently was Tracy McGrady, so I've been studying a lot of Tracy.
But this is exactly where we have to stop the hype and have a real conversation. Are we seriously doing this again? Are we really comparing a 19-year-old kid to one of the 5 greatest scorers in the history of the league? Or are we just setting him up to fail? I mean, sure, if you listen to the analysts and front office executives, the worst case scenario is him still being a hyper-athletic, reliable NBA starter like Andrew Wiggins, who's a useful player, but that's gonna feel like a massive letdown to Wizards fans who think they just drafted the savior of the city. His one weakness that every guard-heavy team is gonna target is his deep jumper, because he only shot 33.1% from 3 on just over 4 attempts a game in college. He survived at BYU because his high release point is totally unguardable, and he led the entire nation in free throw attempts. But modern NBA defensive coordinators are gonna dare him to shoot until he proves he can hit it consistently. However, the old heads are already throwing gas on the fire, because John Wall literally hopped on a podcast and listed his starting 5 at the moment.
Give me your starting 5 right now with AJ. Give me the starting 5.
I'm starting Trae Young, Kyshawn, AJ, AD, Sarr.
Wall looked dead into the camera and said that might be the tallest, most switchable lineup in the entire league. Which sounds incredible until you realize this entire grand plan lives or dies on whether this 19-year-old kid is an actual savior or just the latest product of massive hype. But to actually figure out if Washington just bought a ticket to the finals or a first-class ticket to another disaster, you have to realize that Dybantsa Jr. was quite literally raised to survive this exact type of pressure. His story starts in Brockton, Massachusetts, the historic city of champions that gave us Rocky Marciano, where his parents settled down after chasing the ultimate immigrant dream. His dad, Ace, emigrated from Brazzaville in the Republic of Congo at 13, eventually becoming a campus police officer at Boston University, while his mom, Chelsea, left Hanover, Jamaica at 13 and earned her social work degree from Salem State. They met in a Boston parking lot, raised 3 kids in Brockton, and decided very early on that AJ was gonna be built completely different.
Dybantsa for 3 and the lead!
When other kids were watching cartoons at 4 years old, Ace had AJ doing 100 push-ups every single morning and night. By 10, he was clearing heavy box jumps, and by high school, he was dragging himself out of bed for 6:30 a.m. workouts, literally videotaping his own sessions just to break down his own body language and posture. The payoff is a physical profile that shouldn't even make sense. He has the exact 6'9" height of Blake Griffin, jumps significantly higher than Zach LaVine with a 40.5-inch vertical, and sprints the floor as fast as Pete John Wall, and an 8'10" standing reach inside a lethal 3-level scoring package. He's the first Massachusetts native to be selected as the #1 overall pick in any major sports draft since Patrick Ewing back in 1985, which is hilarious because he completely ignored the traditional blue blood programs of Duke, Kentucky, and UConn. He shocked the entire basketball world by choosing BYU, just because he wanted to play under former Phoenix Suns assistant coach Kevin Young, with minimal off-court distractions. And it paid off because he became the highest-ranked recruit in the program's history, led the entire nation in Division I scoring at 25.5 points per game, and dropped 43 points against Utah on January 24th, to completely shatter NBA legend Danny Ainge's freshman scoring record.
1-2 zone. Follow by Dybantsa.
He didn't stop there either. He went into the Big 12 tournament and dropped a 40-piece on Kansas State, finishing with 93 total tournament points to break Kevin Durant's iconic 2007 freshman scoring record. He is one of only 2 Big 12 players in history to log a 30-10-10 triple-double. Racked up the 3rd most points by any freshman in Division I history, became the first player to lead the nation in scoring, and go #1 overall since Glenn Robinson back in 1994. Yeah, the kid's got it. But he really wasn't always this terrifying. The turning point happened during the 2020 pandemic, when the rest of the world was locked inside. His middle school coach, Joe Saunders, tracked down a closed, abandoned Navy base in Rhode Island, and Ace drove AJ 50 miles a day just to run 4 brutal workouts a day plus another session at night. They would force him to do agonizing crab walks under intense psychological pressure until he finally cracked. That abandoned military base is exactly where he went from a casual kid to the beast he currently is. And it's also why his business empire is already moving like a Fortune 500 company. He completely bypassed massive agencies like CAA and Clutch because his agent is literally his dad, assisted by Leonard Armato, who managed Shaquille O'Neal's entire career. His dad actually quit his campus job full-time to manage a portfolio that already includes massive deals with Nike, Red Bull, Fanatics, and a historic $7 million deal at BYU. But even with all that success, his mom had one non-negotiable condition when he declared for the draft, which was that getting his degree was an absolute must. Which is why AJ openly promised her he would finish his BYU degree within 4 years of turning pro. It shows you the insane grounding behind this kid, who's otherwise arrogant about his game, especially when he openly compared himself to Tracy McGrady. Now, whether that mindset is pure confidence or delusion, the Washington Wizards are willing to bet their entire franchise on him. But here's the question the entire league is asking. Can this hyper-expensive roster actually survive the terrifying reality of the modern Eastern Conference? Surviving this conference has absolutely nothing to do with luck, because the Wizards executives Michael Winger and Will Dawkins did not just stumble into this goldmine. They dropped a 4-phase blueprint and are already executing it perfectly. Everyone clowned on them for losing for 3 straight years, but according to their plan, that was a genius strategy to manipulate the system. You can hate the process, but karma finally worked in their favor after that miserable 2025 draft, where they held the best odds for Cooper Flagg only to fall to 6th while Dallas stole him. The Wizards only had a 14% shot this year, and since the previous 7 worst record teams all missed number 1, Washington broke a historic curse. They're building an Eastern version of the Oklahoma City Thunder by hoarding elite lengths, switchable wings, and high IQ playmakers, making AJ the final infinity stone of their master plan. But the real drama was how they handled the competition between AJ and Darren Peterson right before the draft. The comments were already going crazy because everyone remembers their high school rivalry where Peterson dropped 61 points on AJ's head. Though AJ answered by winning the Grind Session MVP and the FIBA U19 World Cup MVP. Executives panicked about Peterson because he missed 11 crucial games at Kansas with severe cramping issues and unexpected illnesses that scared scouts. The Wizards chose raw durability since AJ is a physical tank, and you just know that it's gonna be literal war when these two step on the floor. But if you think that's a massive gamble, it was absolutely nothing compared to the insane Trae Young trade extension we talked about earlier in this video. The entire league is already tearing itself apart over why Washington gave a $212 million bag to a guy who only played 5 games for him last season. But people forget that Atlanta completely dumped a 4-time All-Star, averaging 25.2 points and 9.8 assists, for just CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert without demanding a single draft pick because Jalen Johnson took over the franchise. Paying $53 million annually for a player fresh off major injury rehab is a massive gamble. Wizards GM Michael Winger completely blindsided the Heat, Spurs, and Nets, who were actively interested in Trae, by locking him down 24 hours before the draft. But this contract torches their financial flexibility, because Trae's $47.3 million combined with Anthony Davis's $58.5 million paycheck pushes him right against the luxury tax threshold. It leaves zero room to sign outside free agents, and that's before factoring in AJ's incoming rookie deal. Half the fanbase thinks Trae is the perfect playmaker to unleash AJ, while critics swear he already hit his peak years ago and would affect AJ's development. But everyone losing their minds about that is completely blind to the real secret weapon sitting in DC. I'm talking about the terrifying group of elite young lottery talents who are already waiting in that locker room to turn the entire league upside down. Bob Carrington literally went on record saying they have the best young core in the entire league, and it's not even close.
Is this the best young core in the NBA right now?
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Which might sound like arrogance until you actually look at the players they've been hoarding. First, you have Alex Sarr, who went number 2 back in 2024. In his sophomore year, he's casually dropping 16 points and 2 blocks a night. And he's literally the only person besides Victor Wembanyama putting up 20.4 blocks. Imagine pairing Sarr with Anthony Davis or running him on the wing with AJ. Then you have 6'8" Kyshawn George out of UConn, who John Wall literally wants starting at shooting guard, because everyone's still sleeping on this kid's scoring ability. Throw in Tre Johnson, who they grabbed at number 6 last year, plus Bilal Coulibaly locking down everyone on defense, and this 3-year draft run looks historically perfect. The question though is whether these kids are a real championship foundation or just a random collection of overhyped lottery tickets, because we all saw how throwing megastars next to unproven young talent completely ruined Kevin Durant's era in Brooklyn. The wildest part is that their window to hijack the league is wide open right now, since the Eastern Conference looks so incredibly weak with Milwaukee losing Giannis and Boston figuring out life without Jason Tatum. So the Wizards making a top 6 seed this season is a very scary reality. Now here's a question for you. Did Washington just build the smartest super team blueprint of the decade, or did they just repeat their classic mistake of chasing flashy names and praying it doesn't collapse? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see how everything unfolds in AJ Dybantsa's career with the Wizards, like and subscribe, because there's a lot more where this came from.